you ever had to make a phone call to family or to friends about your separation from employment? There are two ways in which an employee can leave a company or separate from a company. One is by choice, such as resignation or early retirement, and the other is not by choice, things such as termination, summary dismissal, retrenchment as a result of restructuring, or in a layman's language, being fired. Welcome to HR Fridays. I am your host Ruby Engena, and today we talk about how to come back from a setback, particularly how to come back after you have been fired. Today in particular, we focus on what to do when you have lost your job and it really wasn't by choice. Perhaps you were terminated for something that you did, or it was a summary dismissal, or you were retrenched because the company was going through a restructuring or downsizing. Losing employment, losing your job comes with a lot of anger, it comes with a lot of confusion, it comes with a lot of stress. It just comes with a lot of disorganization. Today I'd like to give you 5 tips that would help you if indeed you did lose your job and maybe it was as a result of something that you did, or it really wasn't a result of something that you did and was a business decision. Tip 1, take time off. Job loss comes with a lot of anger and confusion, and it wouldn't be right for you to jump from one job to the other without making sense of why you did lose the job. So it's very important. That's why it's very important to have a support system, because you need to take time off and reflect and understand why did the company have to let you go. Was it as a result of something that you did, or it was as a result of a business decision? Either way, you need to sit back and relax and try and make sense of the situation. Tip 2, face the reality of the situation. In the event that you have lost your job because of things such as theft or corruption, things that will basically make you not get a job in the other sector. For instance, in banking, banks normally will publish in newspapers people who have lost their jobs and can no longer work with the bank. If your name is published in newspapers, chances of you getting another job in the banking sector are going to be slim. So in case you lose your job as a result of something that you did, it would be wise to venture into something such as self-employment or your own personal business or another sector, because the reality of the situation is that you're never ever going to get a job in that sector. Tip 3, self-assess. Did you lose the job because of failure to adhere to the rules and regulations of the company? Did you lose the job because you were incompetent, or did you lose the job because you were, absconded from duty, or you broke the rules and regulations? It is important to go back and realize if it was your fault or it was just a business decision. Once you go back and self-assess, it makes you a better person. You do not want the cycle to repeat itself. So come the next job, you will most definitely be a better person. Tip 4, get back on the job hunt. It's not the end of the world, especially for those who have been downsized as a result of restructuring. Business decisions have to be made, and therefore they do not affect, you shouldn't take them personally. So get back on the job hunt, review your CV, make it better, and go out there and look for jobs again. However, if it isn't your will to go back into employment, venture into self-employment and business as well, whatever it takes to put some food on the table. Pray always, last but not least, because God has the ability to turn any situation around. On the show today, I sit down with Phillip Kateregga, a gentleman who had his life going for him. He had just had a very epic wedding, had a beautiful wife, had a baby, and he was flying high as the head of procurement in one of the prestigious companies. Little did he know that he would be among those who would be downsized. His life turned around for him there and then. It was a major setback for him, but right now he is the CEO of Events Instincts, a major events company that is coming up, and he sits down with me today to talk about how he came back from a major setback. Enjoy. Edward, welcome to the show. Very excited to have you here on HR Fridays. For the past month, we've been talking about how to come back after a setback. And from somebody who knows your story, I'm humbled that you've decided to share it with everybody. So, looking at your story, I just want to know, you were at the time in your life where you just gotten married, had a beautiful wife, you had a beautiful baby who was a few months old, you had a very big job as a country procurement manager at a very esteemed company, and then it just turned around. Share with me about that.
Well, it was like one day you wake up from everything being perfect, and then everything stops being perfect. And it's a blow, first of all, to you as a person, and to a guy who is married and supposed to provide for his family. It was a big blow to my male ego, I could say as well. But I can't describe it really in words, but it felt like you're sinking. At the same time, you're trying to reach out to these other friends you called friends to try and pull you up, and nobody seems to notice because you're always there for them and they think you're always fine. But this time nobody tried to take a look and see, is Edward really fine after this happened?
What exactly happened?
Well, the company was going through a downsizing and I was retrenched as well. So there were a couple of us, but I was one of the top managers that got retrenched. But I didn't see that coming as well because the company I worked for, I was a relative as well. So I thought, in a way, you think, yeah, it's family business. This won't happen to you. Or if it was going to happen, at least they would call you aside and then give you a heads up that, this is what is going on. So prepare yourself. Maybe in a few months' time, this is what is going to happen. That didn't happen. So it came as a shock. But as you know, you just have to go through it. Yeah, I got some time when I was down, but I had a very nice wife who took care of me, encouraged me to look for other jobs. That's not the end of the world. And also what really helped me, I'm a prayerful person. And also at the back of my mind, I always have this thing where everything happens for a reason. Yeah. So I kept repeating that to myself. Everything happens for a reason. And I went through it like that.
Edward, it's interesting that you say this was more of a family business, so you're a relative, and you got retrenched. Last month on HR Fridays, we spoke about the family and how it's that support system for you. If something bad happens at work or you're fired, you go back home to them and they will keep you. Yours is a different setting because your family are the ones who fired you. Just walk me through that and explain to me, where did you seek solace from? I know you're a man, you have a wife, you have a child, and the same people you should be running to for help are the ones who let you go.
Oh, well, there's a saying that not all, if you've got like 10 friends, not all of them will desert you. So I've got those few close friends that stuck by me through thick and thin, that I run to, that help me with money, that help me with advice, that help me with support, with comfort, that took me out to forget what I was going through. I've got my sister as well, and my other relatives that also took care of my wife, whatever she needed, whatever we wanted, basically, was, they told us, don't worry. And they kept also asking us maybe to pray, to fast. We did all that, and we still do. Yes.
So, of course, there were some good days and there were some bad days. I want to focus a little bit on the bad days. Losing a job comes with a lot of anger, a lot of confusion, and it's a very, very major setback, especially losing a job at your level. So I just want to understand how you dealt with the fact that, you're a country procurement head and, your team was still there. Like, your team didn't lose their job, because ideally, if you're to downsize, there should be a consultation between you, the head, and saying who in your team can you let go of. But if the head is the one that goes, how did you deal with the situation of knowing you're the quote-unquote laughing stock of the company?
Well, I later found out that my team was part of my decision to be retrenched. And these are people I mentored, these are people I was taking care of. And because they wanted maybe a cheap popularity with the top managers, so they decided to say a bit of quacks here and there. But if you came to the books, to open the books for fact, how did I perform, my KPIs, all of them were all right. So it wasn't so much to do with me as a person or how I was performing, but it was more to do with maybe this person should go first and then they'll get my position. But after going through that, there's a time because I do a lot of reading, I found out I had sort of taken it personal, but then I stopped after getting some more information that, business decisions are not made in a personal way. Yes. So at the time, you feel it's personal, but after going through it, you find out, it's not personal. And they actually did me a favor, because after that, I'm not the same person I was then. I got better opportunities. I got to grow as a person. So many nice things happened after that.
Did you go back on the job hunt after this happened to you?
Oh yes, I did. And in fact, I'm now a pro at any job application. If anybody wants a job, yes, I know what to say, I know how to apply, whatever you need to do when it comes to job application. I'm now a pro. So I did go back, yes, and applied for some jobs here and there. But the most frustrating thing is you have to sometimes take off your degrees and masters to match the job and then pretend you don't have this qualification because you want to get that. But all in all, having been said and done, nothing came up. We used to do interviews, first, second, third, and then on the fourth interview, someone tells you you're overqualified. Really, what were they waiting for to tell you the first or second stage? So when it comes to job hunting, I said I did go back into job hunting. I applied for a few jobs here and there. The frustrating bit is you have to be like a chameleon to get certain jobs in Uganda. Then again, as you know, you have to know somebody to get someone. You cannot just get a job on a merit. The ones that try to get on a merit, the ones that are telling you you're overqualified. Then you're like, they probably see you as a threat, one, or they can't afford you. Yeah, because maybe of your education, because I was not educated in Uganda for my higher degrees. So when they see you, you got UK degrees and all that, then yeah, can't afford this guy, or they see you as a threat. Because I can give you an example. I went for an interview without mentioning names, where I had to meet the top guy, the CEO, and then I asked him a question about how he is going to increase maybe traffic to his website, his marketing website, and then he had just come from an interview of how to increase the traffic. It was like a shopping cart, and you buy things off that website. But they found that the men were buying more than the women. Yet we know the women love shopping more than men. So I asked him a question, how are you going to rectify the balance? And he didn't have an answer for that. Yeah. So maybe I thought that's why I didn't get that job.
That's why you didn't get that job.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You see, you've been doing many job interviews. You did many job interviews at the time. Was the fact that you were retrenched something you'd mention during the interviews? Because of course we would ask you, why did you leave your last job? Yeah.
I didn't hide it. If I was asked, I would say. And I also used to work with a letter, a certificate of, certificate of service they give you when you leave in good terms. So I wasn't sacked or anything. But if I was asked, I used to tell them the truth. But nobody used to ask me, yes, why did you leave? Probably they were going to ask once they offered the job, but I never got to that stage. Well, some, as you know, you apply and you don't get any feedback at all.
Okay, so Edward, at what point did you realize that employment is not for you? What point did you stop with that job hunting?
Well, after trying so many times for almost 2 years, I just decided, you know what? Maybe God is trying to tell me to go through another direction. I remember speaking to you about it, and you say, you know what? Try something, and maybe you're not supposed to be employed, you're supposed to start your own business. And it was you who prompted me to think otherwise. Yeah? And I would like to thank you for that. So ever since you mentioned that, I sat down and looked at my skills, my strengths, my weaknesses, what people say about me, and what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. And from that I found that I'm very good at organizing. And then I'm a perfectionist when it comes to maybe big occasions. So I thought about events. But when I look at events, everybody's doing events. How are you going to be unique about the events thing? So I looked into the events coordination part. So that's what I specialize in now. I got a company registered, Event Instincts. It's now about 9 months old, but we're still growing. And I got into events because of that. And also there was an example for my own wedding. It didn't go as I planned. I sat down with people, I told the committee this is how it's supposed to go. But Mr. Perfect Me, I was go there at the same time trying to see, look at that one hasn't done this right. So I said, if it's another person's chance, I would like it to go perfect. As they tell you this is what they want, the timing, the music. So I said, I could come in there and do events for them in a proper coordination, so they enjoy their day and they don't have to worry about the relatives. They live in charge and they get drunk at the end of the occasion and they drop their offices.
So in this case, you come back from your setback because your company called Events Instincts. Just, I know you've given me a background of what it does, but just for the purposes of the viewership, tell me exactly, what does Events Instincts do? What do we need to come to you for?
Yeah. Event Instincts is basically an event management consultancy. In case you have an occasion, and whether you've got the suppliers or not, we can help you recruit the suppliers, interview them for you. We can help you draft your budget and manage it. We can help you find whatever you need for a wedding, for a party, for maybe a birthday party, you want bouncy castles. We've got all the suppliers in hand. We've got a database, the people we work with that can help you. But it has also got a business side for people who would like to start what I started. And the challenges I went through, I would like to pass on my lessons without, they don't have to go through what I went through. Because if someone learns, they say you teach. So now I'm in a better position now to help anybody wishing to start a business. What to look out for, what to avoid.
So it's more or less events planning. Do you actually get into the nitty-gritty of the event on the actual day, or you'll help me plan my budget, help me plan? Like,
well, it depends on how much you're willing to give us. But we're more specialized on the day events. But of course, on the day, you need to collect all this information a few days for, like guest list, who was reserved, RSVPs, who's coming, who's not, is the food enough, and all that. Then on the day, we help bring all those people together and make sure everybody works as a team to make the day successful.
You know, your story is really quite interesting. And now I'm imagining if one of your relatives from the business had an event, would you do it?
Business is business. Yes, I would.
I think you'd overcharge them.
No, I wouldn't.
But you do it.
Yes.
That's interesting. It shows a level of maturity and that we have to go past certain situations. I like what you said, that the retrenchment in companies is never really personal. It's, business is business. Some of the things have to happen. Some of these business decisions are tough. But people deal with it differently. So I want you to speak to people who have had a major setback in the year 2018. This is a new year, you're probably entering the year depressed, you don't know where to start from. What would you say to somebody who's looking for a major comeback?
The best advice I can give to someone who's trying to do a comeback in 2019 is, first of all, look at your circle. Your inner circle is going to determine your success or your failures. Because as we see, relationships are very important in everyday life. Starting with the family, your inner circle, immediate friends, and also all other people you meet along the way. Try and make sure they know who you are, they get to know you, and you never know when you're going to need them. But always have to be with good relationships around you as you network. The other most important thing is you have to be a very prayerful person. Well, personally, I'm a very prayerful person. I don't know if other people call it God or some supernatural something. You have to believe in something bigger than you. Otherwise you'll fall for anything. And when you do that, there's certain times where you're going through ups and downs and challenges. And because of that belief, that faith, that hope, you tend to have that peace, that whatever happens, things will be fine. That's how I know. That's the best advice I can give them.
So Edward, conclusively, I'd want to hear your 2 cents about setbacks and comebacks. Particularly, I want to know what you would tell Edward then when he had just got his letter. And when he had just got his letter, what would you tell him? Now, what would you tell him?
What I would tell Edward is relax. Relax, relax. It's going to be fine. You're not the first one, you're not going to be the last one. Whatever emotion you go through life, someone has been there, someone has been through it. It will be fine. Take heart.
Thank you very much, Edward, for sharing your story. I don't take it for granted, and I thank God that you're at this point in your life now, because I remember having this conversation with you 2 years ago, and it was different, but now you're on your way to the top. When you reach there, please book us seats, because we are coming as well. To the rest of the viewers, you heard it from Edward himself. Relax, relax, relax. Everything is going to be okay. See you next week. Remember, you are the CEO of you.